mysterious enigma in the southeast edge of the most sparsely populated state in the nation. A western town whose history is steeped in cowboy lore. A cattle town known for its violent exploits of stone-cold gunfighters, lawless vigilantes, and lynchings. A hard-nosed, no-holds-barred railroad town replete with brothels and gambling dens. Cheyenne, Wyoming, the last of America's great Wild West frontier towns. In its early days, the town hosted many Western luminaries such as iconic gunfighter Wild Bill Hickok, lawman turned assassin Tom Horn, Indian scout Buffalo Bill Cody, sometimes lawman Bat Masterson, gambler Doc Holliday, and frontierswoman sharpshooter Calamity Jane. In the 20th century, Cheyenne became the rodeo capital of the world and home to F.E. Warren Air Force Base. Named in 1930 by President Hubert Hoover to honor Wyoming's first state governor, Francis E. Warren. After World War II, the base had grown from a simple flight training facility, unsolved murders and hangings, and even darker paranormal oddities beyond the scope of scientific understanding. Unlike the abandoned ghost towns of America's Wild West, Cheyenne today is a vibrant, living ghost town whose eerie history comes to life in the quaint theaters and commercial buildings of its picturesque downtown. It is said everybody has a ghost story to tell from the city center.
Got a bunch of new books in, and I had a book that was the Encyclopedia of Witchcraft, and it was just laying open on the floor one morning after my coworker had vacuumed the night before. That's probably the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me here.
Our manager actually doesn't believe that there's a ghost, and so the owner doesn't like us to say stuff like that. So if it's actually not good for my job stability if we talk about it.
Back in the day, I used to volunteer next door for the melodramas and things.
Yes, sir.
And I had actually had an experience over there where we were getting ready to leave, and I had my dad outside, standing there with two ladies. I was getting ready to back out the door, and I was looking back through the main doors onto the stage.
Uh-huh.
And there was a light that actually came on and cast across the stage, and there was no light that would do that. It was almost like somebody turned on a lamp. But all of the lights for the stage were all overhead. We didn't have anything. They told on guys, there's somebody down there. We went down there and double checked. And I'm not one to believe or disbelieve. I really haven't any experiences, but that one.
In order to learn more about the ghostly reputation of the city, we contacted Jill Pope, author of 3 books on paranormal Cheyenne. She agreed to meet us at the haunted Atlas Theater that the cowboy just mentioned.
And above all of these buildings downtown were housing, boarding rooms. Everybody lived above their businesses when Cheyenne was first established. It was kind of how it was. And so there's a lot of stories of things that happened. There was a murder in the Wrangler that I do have a newspaper clipping from upstairs. And there was a lot of girls in the night upstairs that stayed here on the second level. You can go up there if you want. It's really cool. There's like a courtyard inside. It's very cool.
Jill had arranged with one of the theater's tour leaders, Kelly Douglas, to take us on a rare upstairs tour of the building constructed in 1895. What we found was as ghostly and creepy as any old West abandoned mining town. From the mezzanine level, we were ushered to a door leading upstairs.
How it was like a boarding house and they were...
In the room to the right, there appeared to be blood and blood spatter on the wall. And one more flight of stairs to climb. As we did, Jill told us about the ghosts haunting the theater.
We often have sightings of young boys in this building.
Kelly showed us one last creepy feature.
So, regular closet, right?
Yeah.
So then you go, well, maybe there was just an outlaw who lived here.
Yeah.
Hid, you know?
His loot.
Who knows?
It's been hand-drilled. It was really well done.
As we took a final look at this paranormal rich building, Jill pointed us to a couple of YouTube videos from Fog, Cheyenne's local paranormal investigation couple. Videos of EVP recordings in the Atlas Hotel. Here they are.
Is this your home?
We reached out to Fog owners Angel Mondello and Jose Gonzalez, and they agreed to meet us to plan a joint paranormal investigation in one of Cheyenne's haunted buildings. Both had early paranormal experiences in their lives. Angel is what we would call a sensitive.
When I was 12 years old, before that, I just thought everyone, could speak to the spirits that have passed. I grew up in an Italian family, and we were very religious, so we frequently went to church, and we would have to pray and everything, and I just thought that that was something that went along with prayer and went along with our belief system, is that our family members that have passed and other family members that have passed can still speak to you. So when I was 12, I had a conversation with my father that also had those abilities, and he passed it on to me, and that's when he explained to me not everybody can do that, and that it's a gift that God gave you, and you have to keep it close to your heart.
We can go all the way back to age 3, Grandpa Joe's house in Laramie, Wyoming. I've had the paranormal follow me pretty much my whole life. In short, my grandmother had died in 1977. I was roughly 3.5 years old, and we had slept in Grandma's bed. Grandpa was old school Yaqui Indian from Mexico, and so he slept on a little cot. And there was one night that I was laying there looking out in towards the kitchen. The dining room area had this doorway to the bedroom there, and there was this, out of nowhere, this bright blue flame just going from left to right, very slow. It didn't scare me, but it was like the color that you see like in a butane flame. And I remember my other grandmother, my dad's biological mom, telling me years later that I used to be afraid to be at Grandpa Joe's house because I would see and hear things. Well, as we lived in Laramie, almost every little place that we lived in, we had some type of spiritual activity.
I was brand new to it, didn't know the equipment, didn't know the procedures or anything, and so I learned really fast. I caught on very quick, and it was amazing. We caught full body apparitions, we did a crossover, the spirits were very active that night, and they spoke to me, and so I relayed that to Jose, and then Jose would set up equipment accordingly as to where I said the activity was, and yeah, that crossover. So when the whole investigation was over with, I was like, wow, this is awesome. Does this happen every time? And they were like, no. This is amazing. Like, you took our team to the next level. This is our connection to the other side that we were missing.
All these books that you've read on, psychic phenomenon, they talk about the spirit world as a thick magnetic fog from our world to theirs, these different realms. Oh, that's the fog. Finally came up with the name Paranormal Hunting Observation Group. Commissioned one of my friends, did a logo, all that, the rest is history.
With the promise of a different kind of paranormal investigation, we met with Jose 2 weeks later. He agreed to take us on a walking ghost tour of downtown Cheyenne.
I guess we're gonna get started today by doing a quick little walking tour of Cheyenne. This area here is downtown, and remember you guys are staying in one of the haunted hotels, right?
Yep.
And so that's the Plains Hotel. If anybody's watching and want to know what that is, some history there with most of the buildings in Cheyenne. Across the street is another building called the Whipple House. The Whipple House, back in the day when I was in high school, we used to hear a lot of stories there because I had a couple of friends that graduated with me And when they lived in that home, the story goes that they had this entity that lived in that building with them. They'd see shadows and all the typical stuff. But this type of energy ended up attacking the people. So much that the girl, I won't give her name, but she was coming up the stairs and something that she couldn't see ended up pushing her back down the stairs. She got pretty hurt. She had to go to the hospital for it. Her brother was attacked at one time too. I think it tried choking him. I want to direct you a little bit behind you here. It's kind of hard to see past that Arby's sign over there. There's a house on the corner, and that house has all the brick glass there.
Yeah.
So years ago, a girl that I was dating, she worked with a guy at this salon, and he lived in that apartment complex there, is what it is now. And he lived there for a little bit of time, and almost every other night or so, he'd be woken up at 3 a.m. and somebody's pounding on the walls and all. He's like, look, I'm trying to get some sleep. So long story short, he goes and tells the landlord about it. So they got curious about some things. He's examining the walls one day, and he notices that it looks like there's some water damage in the wall. And obviously people want to always look out to make sure there's not any black mold or things like that. He lets the landlord know, and he's like, what the heck? So maybe it's animals in the wall. That's what they're thinking, right? You bump the wall, and little you know, some of it falls out. Well, as the landlord and then begin to examine a little bit more, they excavate a good chunk of the sheetrock that's on the wall. And they end up finding a guy buried in the wall. Yeah.
Wow.
They had to call the Cheyenne Police Department. And that was the story behind that. It was like, okay, so